Hello everyone, this is part 68 of What If Naruto Had Two Bloodlines, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Jiraiya looked up to see a guy with a strange orange ponytail hairstyle in the trademark Akatsuki robe. He also noticed, "You've changed a lot, but I'd recognize those eyes anywhere. I never figured that you were Pain, Nagato. I guess you didn't grow up the way I'd hoped. So, feel like telling me what happened to you three? Since you left, as an outsider, it isn't your concern," Pain replied. "I guess you've changed a lot more than I thought, Nagato." Pain wasted no time in summoning a large crab. It spit bubbles that washed over the field and the oil on Conan. Jiraiya retreated to the back wall. Conan also retreated as Pain was about to get serious. The crab swam through the bubbly foam to attack Jiraiya. Jiraiya countered, Wild Lion's main technique. His hair sprang out and wrapped around the crab, subduing it. His hair tightened until the crab cracked and disappeared in defeat. His hair then turned on Pain himself. It loosely wrapped around him as Jiraiya wanted to ask a few questions. "Where is Yahiko? Yahiko. I think I do remember a fellow by that name, he SD long ago," he calmly and coldly stated. "Nagato, did you? What happened to you?" "Nothing, just war. Too many people have SD here, but their pain is what helped me to grow. Even the most ignorant child will grow up as they learn what pain truly is. It affects them in many ways. What they say, how they think, knowing pain controls it all. How can abandoning the love for your friends be the correct way to become an adult? It doesn't seem right to me. Sensei, you're still just a man, however, through this never-ending pain, I have grown and evolved into much more." "And what is that? A god? What?" Jiraiya couldn't believe what he was saying. "Do you really believe that? When one becomes a god, their thoughts and actions become absolute. I wouldn't expect a simple man like you to understand, Sensei. Things I couldn't comprehend before are crystal clear now. Also, I've noticed that there are things that I can do now that I could never dream of." "You say all this, but what are you trying to accomplish?" Jiraiya questioned. Pain answered, "I'm going to put an end to this pathetic war-torn world. It will be an act of God. What does collecting the tailed beasts have something to do with this plan? Telling you would mean certain death, but I was planning on killing you anyway. Using the tailed beasts, I will create a new, forbidden jutsu. One that will be capable of destroying a country in its entirety. It will be the ultimate technique, a weapon of unprecedented power and scale. How can you think that something like that would stop wars? It'll just make things worse." Jiraiya exploded. "There are disputes all over. What do you think would be the quickest way to resolve them, Jiraiya-sensei?" Jiraiya gritted his teeth as he snarled. Pain gave him his answer, "I will give my ultimate technique to the warring nations, knowing that they will inevitably use it against each other." Jiraiya couldn't believe his ears. What a getting at. A countless number of people would instantly, and the survivors would completely be terrified. At that point, the entire world will know what true pain is. Fear of even the slightest conflict leading to a horrible annihilation will grow until, eventually, the fighting ceases completely. The world is still in an unbalanced state but is growing more slay. Pain will hasten that process, as it did with me. With the help of God guiding it, this world will finally become enlightened and mature. So, you want to teach the world what pain is, just to help it grow up faster. How can you think like that? I'm a god of peace. That's a little funny with the hunt for the hosts of the tailed beasts, don't you think?" Jiraiya smirked. "I'm serious, Sensei, Without warning, Jiraiya's hair turned wild. It sharpened and impaled Pain's body from any and all directions. Jiraiya shifted his gaze over to a tunnel high on the wall, ignoring the thick log in his hair. There, he found Pain, unharmed. Though without a scratch, Pain would be sure to do more than that to his former sensei. He summoned another creature, a bizarre, giant lizard with a living serpent for a tail, torn wings on its back, and an eye similar to the Rinnegan. Before stepping into the creature's mouth and disappearing, Pain stated, "To me, you're nothing more than a small existence that will never grow enough to concern me. Jiraiya laughed at this. If his opponent wanted to talk that way about him and fight with summoning, he would do the same. A kid like you is 100 years too early to be saying that I'm small and not a threat. I think that I should warn you, I'm no longer a human either. Jiraiya summoned a giant red and black toad in a black robe. Landing on its head, Jiraiya energetically began, these tears of blood overflow with rage. The great, legendary sage of the famous 3 shinobi legends of the leaf. The fearsome demon of the mysterious Mount Myoboku. The great master Jiraiya. Sudden movements from his giant toad summon caused Jiraiya to lose his balance and fall face first. It apologized for the sudden shift, but he just couldn't help. He was cramping up from trying to stay still for so long. Still face down, Jiraiya was muffled as he cursed for the embarrassing display. A bit of clarity came through when he loudly, but still muffled, cursed after hearing Pain say, "You're still as easygoing as ever, sensei." Jiraiya lifted his face and exclaimed, "That was Mr. Gamaken's fault. If he hadn't moved around while I was," he stopped as Pain's summon disappeared, saying, "He's coming." Gamaken raised his shield and spiked, forked staff in preparation. Jiraiya rolled up his sleeves a bit as he bit his wrist and spread the blood. He wiped it on his eyes as a marker of another fight he was getting himself into that he also hoped he would prevail from. Right away, he decided, I'll use hermit mode. Ah, are you really? Gamaken questioned. Yep, Jiraiya replied. I'm summoning those too, could you please try and buy me some time? Sure, though I'm pretty weak, I'll do my best. Leaf 8-man squad. Naruto and Kiba rushed at Toby. They attacked from 2 sides and left him nowhere to retreat to other than backward. Hinata was ready to fire if he came forward. Toby hesitated on what to do until it was too late. Both Naruto and Kiba reached him. Kiba was going to drill low and Naruto was going to take up high. Naruto swung his twin katana and Kiba used his fang over fang technique, but both missed. They phased right through Toby. Naruto just narrowly avoided missing his comrade but wasn't as lucky. Kiba's technique connected and forced the two to fall from the tree. Toby watched carefully as the two fell. He seemed to take a great interest in Naruto's pain. Blood sputtered from his mouth. With the enemy's focus elsewhere, Hinata let an arrow fly. Without even looking, Toby somehow avoided the shot by phasing. After the arrow passed through, he realized. A shadow clone, he exclaimed as Naruto came crashing down on him with a Rasengan. At least, that's what he let everyone believe. Naruto drove his way through the thick branch and the two began falling to the earth. Realizing that he did no damage, Naruto quickened his fall only to pass right through Toby once again and crash to the ground below. Rain Village. TCH. This guy is annoying, Jiraiya stated, frustrated. Disappearing and attacking from anywhere, with all the various smells around, we'll have to resort to that barrier jutsu if we don't want to be defeated so easily. Gamaken agreed as Jiraiya jumped and clicked his heels. Upon landing, a field expanded around him and Gamaken to the entire area. Seeing this, from inside his summon, Pain understood, I'm sure that this is a type of barrier jutsu that detects even the slightest movement within, in that case. Figuring out Jiraiya's barrier, he summoned another creature. This one was a fast-moving, 3-headed hound. Without pause, it rushed at Jiraiya and Gamaken. Gamaken met it head-on and the two giants then began clashing throughout the area. After crashing multiple times, Gamaken finally managed to pin the beast. It clawed and bit in an attempt to get free. Nicely done, Jiraiya complimented. Not really, he denied. I'm pretty clumsy. The hound suddenly stopped growling and yelping. Before their eyes, it split into 3 separate entities. Like before, they turned and attacked the duo. They dodged the first 2 but were met with the third. Just barely, Gamaken avoided being crunched in its jaws. He grabbed his weapon and began batting them away. The more he did, the more they split into. The numbers were becoming overwhelming. Their numbers keep increasing. What kind of monsters are these? Where were these things found? They just kept coming. As they split into a great multitude of vicious attack dogs, Jiraiya suggested finding a more narrow space to confront them. As they tried to find one, they were chased and hunted all over the place. Just when they thought that they had found a place to catch a breather, they were quickly found and surrounded. One after another, then simultaneously, they attacked. The odds were greatly against them, and Jiraiya could do nothing more than retreat and keep away from the enemy as long as they could. They just keep coming. I guess we can't run the entire time, Jiraiya figured. Let's take the fight to them and eliminate as many as we can. It may be the only way. Gamaken spun on a large pipe to turn and suddenly attack. With his shield, he crashed it into a couple of the attacking mutts, and, with a few good swings, batted several more into the lagging beast. This bought him some time, but Jiraiya knew that it wouldn't last. He could smell Gamaken's blood and was sure that the hounds could as well. They would be on him in a matter of minutes after recovering. He was correct as he heard distant growls growing larger until they were in sight. They were cornered, but they wouldn't give in. We can't waste our time and energy with these mutts. We have to find some way to get rid of them all, Jiraiya stated. As the hounds pounced, Gamaken used his own great leaping ability to jump into the sky. On the way up, Jiraiya noticed Pain hidden away. He also noticed another creature. This time, it was a strange-looking bird with a single leg on its back and two normal legs on its front, as well as a drill beak. With great force, it soared right at the duo. Acting quickly, Gamaken raised his shield, but the force of the bird's attack sent them hurtling and crashing to the ground. Jiraiya had fallen off of Gamaken's head but jumped back on as he got up. He tried to make sense of things. Once again, they were surrounded by the hounds, and, once again, they had to battle their way out. It was hard fought, but they found a place to hide, for the moment. With a moment of peace, Jiraiya tried to figure out the path the fight had taken. He had trained Nagato in many areas of ninjutsu, and he had mastered them all, but, in this fight, he did nothing but hide and let his summoning do his fighting for him. Jiraiya found this as strange as the creatures he used. Why is he only using summoning? Jiraiya pondered as he was once again surrounded. The hounds pounced and the duo countered. Jiraiya partially transformed and lashed a few with his spiked tail. Unfortunately, Gamaken wasn't as lucky. Quite a few of the hounds dug their teeth into him. Those Jiraiya had knocked away returned with a vengeance as they joined in. With no choice, Jiraiya gave up on holding his stance. With a quick turnabout, he caused them all to vanish into thin air. Pain's summon revealed itself as he wondered, did he retreat, or is he just trying to recuperate? Without making a sound, Jiraiya and Gamaken attacked from behind. After a hiss from the chameleon's tail, another creature, a bull, was summoned. It caught Gamaken between its horns and pushed him back. Taking this opportunity, Pain disappeared again. This got Jiraiya wondering, why is he only hiding and using summoning? The bull took the initiative and charged. Gamaken tried to put a stop to this rampaging beast, but it was all he could do to stand his ground. The bull forcefully pushed him back against his will. It pushed until Gamaken's back was nearly against the wall. At this point, Jiraiya told him, I'll take it from here. All right. The bull stumbled forward as Gamaken suddenly vanished in a cloud of smoke. It crashed into the wall and bore through it. Pain was curious about what was up Jiraiya's sleeves. He would find out soon enough. It strangely became silent, too silent. Then, a lot of noise was raised as the bull was sent crashing through the wall. He then heard voices loudly coming from the newly made tunnel. Brat, why do ya always have to summon us in places like this? It's no wonder that Kid Bunter is always so upset. A female voice nagged. Take it easy, Ma, another voice sounded out. I'm sure young Jiraiya wouldn't have called us here if he didn't need tar. Oh, quiet, Pa. She shrilled. I'm sorry that it's been a while since we last met, and it had to be here of all times and places, Jiraiya apologized. I'm more surprised Thatcher wanted tar use this form. I could have sworn Thatcher said Thatcher didn't like it, 'cause it drove the girls away, the new, old male voice stated. Whether I like it or not, I got no choice. Our opponent has the Rinnegan, he mentioned. The Sage of Six Paths eyes. Are you sure about this, kid? Yep, and I could use your help. As they emerged from the shadows, Jiraiya's new form was shocking to behold. It could be seen that two frogs, a male and female, Fukasaku and Shima, sat on Jiraiya's shoulders. The old male stated, in that case, it can't be helped. As they continued out of the tunnel, he continued, you really should learn tar use Sage mode on your own, Jiraiya boy. Yeah, I guess you're right, Jiraiya agreed. But, compared to you two, I'm still just a tadpole with a long way to go. They leapt out into the open and, Ma, questioned. So, just where is this guy with tar sage of 6 parts eyes? I don't see anything, Fukasaku said. I guess our eyes are failing in our old age. Nah, that isn't it. He's hiding himself inside a summoned animal that can blend in with its surroundings, practically turning invisible, Jiraiya explained. A chameleon, huh? While invisible, the chameleon slowly crept a bit closer. Shima formed a hand seal and stuck out her tongue. It was like another living creature as it sniffed the air. Seemingly finding its target, it shot forth and wrapped around an invisible figure. The position of the chameleon was revealed as Shima spun and slammed it. With word from Ma that she had secured it, Pa spit a strong stream of water that cut the chameleon in half. It screeched as it disappeared, leaving pain to face Jiraiya and the old frogs. That's Tar Rinnegan, eh? Shima figured. They certainly look like Tar ones mentioned in Tar legends. It's a shame that he's Tar, destined child. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, looks like all 3 of the Leafs, legendary 3, have extremely unique SKS. I have a question there, ya. Jiraiya boy, if ya need us Tar fight this guy, what are ya doing fighting in the first place? Well, for starters, he's a former student of mine. This surprised the 2 frogs. I ain't heard of no other students of yours. Which means, he's Tar, destined child. Why are we fighting, Jiraiya replied, it seems, he didn't turn out the way I expected. I also heard rumors that he had SD and convinced myself that it wasn't him. If he's headed down Tar wrong path, then I guess we got a Fukasaku stated. Looking at his former student, Jiraiya wondered, Toad Sage, has the time for me to make that difficult choice really come? Like throughout the fight so far, Pain called forth more summoning. But this time, they were different from those before. These were people. So, I guess you're serious about this, Jiraiya stated. If you're the one who'll bring about the destruction of the world, then, as your teacher, I'll stop you. He proclaimed. Is that so? Both figures summoned stood tall. Jiraiya and the elder frogs were taken aback by the sight. They all looked different, but they all possessed the Rinnegan. How can there be 3 people with the Rinnegan, that's rumored to appear only once at a random point in time? Jiraiya questioned. There must be some kinda trick Tar this, Fukasaku guessed. And this had Tar happen around dinner time, Shima complained. That isn't important now, Ma. What was that? Don't you dare belittle a housewife's dilemma. If it weren't there my cookin', you wouldn't eat, and you wouldn't be so great then, would ya? She nagged. Don't take that tone with me. There's no need to get so bent out of shape over a missed meal. Bent out of shape. Just you wait, till we get home. I'll show ya, bent out of shape. Now, Jiraiya tried to calm their bickering. Calm down, we have to focus here. The 2 turned to him and exploded, don't stick your big nose in other people's business. Sorry, Jiraiya apologized, ashamed. Anyway, I'd like to make my move now. Jiraiya perked up as he energetically moved about as he said, prepare for the full onslaught of my ninjutsu enforced with the ultimate, senjutsu. Behold the shiny horns as they the glowing halos of the heavenly canopies. The gallant Jiraiya. Jiraiya was interrupted once again. This time, it was by the elder frogs as they yelled, I'm right here. You ain't gotta yell in my ears. Jiraiya was upset as he thought, why does everyone have to interrupt me when I'm striking my poses? Let's hurry and get this over with, Shima suggested. I have to get on dinner. Fukasaku was going to say something to this but just let out a frustrated sigh. He knew that she was stubborn and wouldn't let it go. He was as well, but, with the current situation, he had no choice. One of the figures with the Rinnegan, a guy with extremely long orange hair, quickly reached them, trying to take advantage. Slyly, Jiraiya saw him coming and delivered a devastating kick to him, right into his eyes. The force of the kick sent him cartwheeling and crashing into the rear wall. Seeing this display, the first Pain commented, nicely done. Now then, I hope we can put the bickering aside for now. We have to take him out. Fine, Shima groaned. I'll just fry something, kid, you bring tar oil. Pa, you fan tar flames. It sounded good to them and they complied. Together, they created a massive wave of hot, boiling oil. They were surprised when the other Pain jumped out front, right into the path of the wave. It engulfed him, but they were even more shocked when it all disappeared without a drop left. Somehow, he got rid of the oil. He couldn't have drank it all, could he? Shima questioned. Looks like there's more to this problem than we originally figured, Fukasaku stated. Jiraiya kicked off his shoes as now he definitely had to get serious. His form advanced a bit more as his hands and feet grew larger and his teeth sharpened. He exploded from the wall with getting close in mind. Within seconds, he closed the distance and attacked with massive Rasengan. He palmed a huge sphere of chakra and thrusted it into the face of the fat pain. He had caught him before he could react, but he absorbed the attack. Seeing this firsthand, it was concluded that this was how the previous attack was rendered useless. Fukasaku noticed the other pain sneaking up and threw a smoke bomb. This way, they could eliminate one before they even realized it. Jiraiya slipped behind the long-haired pain and threw a punch, but it was dodged. Jiraiya tried a low sweep and followed it with a punch. Upon seeing his sweep avoided, Jiraiya thought, he can't see, but somehow he's able to read my attacks. His following punch connected as all the enemy could do was block while in the air. The long-haired pain was forced from the cloud of smoke. The first pain was about to storm the cloud but stopped as a figure jumped out. He was surprised to see a toad the size of a person leap out. Behind him, Jiraiya appeared. His hair stood on end before it rapidly fired in flurry of sharp, needle-like hairs at great speeds. Another surprise came in the form of a defense. Even though the attack was launched at great speeds, Pain managed to summon a rocky-looking giant panda to take the attack. Both summons then vanished after the exchange. Jiraiya quickly distanced himself to try and figure out a way to win. How can I beat these guys? There isn't a single wasted movement between them. Just now, he couldn't see me behind him, but he avoided my attack by summoning a shield instead of trying to dodge it. How are they doing it? Without any speaking, eye contact, or any other kind of cues or tips between them, even if all three are the chakra sensing types, they shouldn't be able to form such perfect counters without actually seeing the attack. Of all that I've come across, Naruto is about the only one that's even come close to being able to pull that off, advising them all, the way they stood, their appearances, the way they'd fought so far. Jiraiya said, they're no ordinary clones, if even that. I think I figured their trick, Fukasaku quietly said. He explained, when we attacked from behind earlier, we were in their blind spots, but whole time, others were watching us very carefully. They didn't make a sound or anything try and warn but still, I'm thinking it might be their eyes. That's why they all have same eyes. If all three of are watching same target, then all three can see the same image even if they aren't looking directly at it, Jiraiya finished. That's what I suspect, Fukasaku said. If that's the case, then what are they? A sudden slow motion caught their eyes. From their sleeves, the enemies slipped out black rods. Jiraiya wondered what they were exactly. He also wondered how he was going to defeat these guys if his ninjutsu was useless. Fukasaku figured the same and suggested that they fell back to think of a plan. Jiraiya's dragon blood was boiling. The fight was starting to excite him a little and he wanted to see it through, but Fukasaku's wise words got through. Using smoke as a diversion, he disappeared into the pipes. Not wanting him to get away, the pains gave pursuit. While Jiraiya did the legwork, Fukasaku focused on figuring out a strategy to use against the enemy. First thing was first, he had to make sense of what was going on. They may look different on surface, but they all have Sage of 6 Paths Rinnegan. Jiraiya chimed in, but, even if one of them is Nagato, from what I've heard, I can't believe that there's more than one Rinnegan user running around today. What's going on here exactly? How is it possible? That ain't important right now. No matter how impossible it may seem, we got 3 people with Rinnegan deal with. Just what is pain? Dunno yet, but give me some time, and I'll have that fella figured out, Fukasaku assured. Leaf 8-man squad. Hinata was beginning to get worried. Naruto crashed to the earth for what seemed to be after an unbelievable number of times. She was about to rush to his side but Sakura assured her that he was more than okay. She was sure that she was right, but she still couldn't help but want to check on him. She resisted as Yamato stated, he's been seeing through all of our attacks so far, it's like he's just messing around with us. But why? Kakashi questioned. Could he just be stalling us? Shino stated. That must be it. This entire time, he's done nothing but get in our way instead of trying to take Naruto, even though he had many opportunities to do so. He must be trying to keep us from interfering with Sasuke or Itachi, Kakashi noted. Then, what do we do? Kiba asked. He can't stop us all. Everyone, scatter. With an explosion coming from the water, Toby was distracted. The Leaf Shinobi took this chance to try and get by. Toby was taken aback by their tenacity. He disappeared and reappeared to cut him off and turn him back. It was then that he saw Naruto blow by them all. Toby hurried to cut him off as well. He appeared before him, but Naruto didn't slow down. He was gonna run right through him one way or another. Eeeeyaah! Toby yelled as Naruto barreled right at him. In a clumsy reaction, Toby thrusted his arms forward and pushed Naruto back with great force. So much that he actually crashed into a tree. To Toby's surprise, it turned out to be a shadow clone. Rain Village. Jiraiya's opponents were trailing him when they heard what could only be described as frogs croaking or singing. They followed it deeper into the pipes. In the far back, they finally found their target. They began slipping black rods from their robes as they quickly approached. The fat pain stopped and turned back as he noticed another Jiraiya attacking. Ninja art, Scorching Dragon's Den. The fat pain tried furiously to absorb all of the fire blown their way. This played right into Jiraiya's hand. He figured that each pain had a specific type of trick up each of their sleeves. One would summon, and this one in particular seemed to be able to absorb all ninjutsu. With the fat one's sight focused on the fire and one that was blinded, there was only one that could actually see. Jiraiya blew another large flame that swept through the pipes. Both of the approaching pain continued onward and leapt up high to avoid the fire. As one made contact with the ceiling, he began sinking into it. Earth-style, dark swamp. The first pain bounced off of him and into a kick from Jiraiya. He wouldn't give him the chance to summon anything more. This kick was enough to buy the frogs time to lock him in their genjutsu before he even finished skipping across the side wall of the pipe. With the genjutsu taking effect, leaving them defenseless, the first pain stated, "You got me. You're in a genjutsu that paralyzes your nerves and mind," Jiraiya explained. "None of you can freely move around anymore." Jiraiya thought back to when they devised this plan. Flashback. All three of them share the same field of vision, Fukasaku brought up. This way, they can see from each other's vantage point. That seems to be one of their eyes' powers. He continued, basically, it's like looking at a video from 3 different camera angles. You can see everything tar cameras see all at once. Shima noted, so, if one of them can see tar target, tar other 3 can as well, even if it ain't directly in their line of sight. That must be how they're attacking and defending with such perfect timing. Fukasaku elaborated, their field of vision's 3 times better than a normal person's, and, unlike the Byakugan, they can cover each other's blind spots without wasting time forming seals or chakra. That's one hell of a combination. Then, our best bet is to split 'em up, Jiraiya joined. I'm sure I can win if I can take 'em out one by one, but I doubt it'll be easy to separate them. I'm sure they'll stick tar combination attacks like they been doing, Fukasaku said. Jiraiya came back, that's what I had to go through with the one that summoned. He must have been watching me through the creatures he summoned. That's why they had the same eyes, now it's the same as it was then. One of them alone is quite a handful, but all 3 at once, taijutsu is out of the question with them watching each other's back, and my ninjutsu is useless because the fat one keeps absorbing it. Fukasaku came up with something. If neither of those is cutting it, then all's that's left is genjutsu. Jiraiya protested, but I've never really been very good with genjutsu myself. Even if hermit mode does boost my abilities, it probably won't be very effective. That's the point. If he used Tabi your pupil, then, chances are, he knows Thatacha don't use it. That could be a huge advantage for us, with me and Ma here. No way. Shima protested. I ain't doing it. The 2 tried to find out what was bugging her, and she told them, I can't sing no duet with Pa at my age now. It's too embarrassing. She blushed. A duet? Jiraiya inquired. Fukasaku explained, our most potent genjutsu is a song. It attacks the victim's brain through their sense of hearing. Jiraiya now understood, and Fukasaku went on to say, since it uses sound, it gives away our position. On top of that, it can only take full effect when we combine our voices in tar-right melody, and that takes time when it's been a while since we last did it. If they find us before we get it just right, they'll be eating frog legs for dinner. However, if we get em before we're found, there's no way we'll lose. Jiraiya took it all in and said, if things get out of hand, I want you two to get out of here and get to safety immediately. The two elder frogs wouldn't have it, Fukasaku more so than Shima. The fate of the world was depending on the outcome of this fight. They would see it through to the end, hopefully not theirs. With their rock-hard determination set in place, all they needed now was a good plan. Fortunately, Jiraiya had one. End of flashback. Jiraiya-sensei, I never thought you were capable of using such incredible genjutsu. You can never let your guard down, no matter who your opponent is, Jiraiya responded. You went down the wrong path, Nagato. I had hoped that you would rise above the pain of the world and harness your power to bring about peace in a positive way, not bringing it about by trying to lead the world to ruin. This pupil will begin a great revolution, the likes of which the shinobi world has never seen, either by peace or destruction. Jiraiya recalled the great Toad Sage telling him so many years ago. For a little while, I believed you were the one, goodbye. In reality, each pain groaned and grimaced as Jiraiya drove 3 large stone swords through their boss. With a sigh of relief, he stated, it's finally over. As he headed towards the light to get some much-needed fresh air, the frogs on his shoulders felt the same as they began coughing and hacking. I'm sorry, you two, you can rest with ease now, I've finally made my decision. He stopped as he sensed that something was askew. His sensitive ears picked up on movement coming from behind him. His suspicions were confirmed when he heard a voice say, didn't you just remind me, not to drop my guard, Jiraiya-sensei? Jiraiya quickly reacted but only got a glimpse of the Rinnegan as he was blown away and out of the tunnel. He skimmed over the top of the water below before he finally got his bearings. Just then, Shima pointed out that half of Jiraiya's arm was missing. As boss in black and red Akatsuki robe sprang from the tunnel soon after, Jiraiya noted, there are new faces among them this time. He must have summoned them before. Jiraiya grimaced before he could finish. Fukasaku realized what he was thinking and finished, before we caught em in our genjutsu. Now standing before them, on an elevated plane, stood 6 orange-haired Akatsuki with black piercings and each wielding the Rinnegan, including the 3 that Jiraiya and his frogs could have sworn that they had eliminated. What in tarnation is going on? Fukasaku exclaimed. Can they not s? Jiraiya questioned. They then heard him announce, it's time, for you to witness the godly powers of the 6 paths of Pain. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.